me, my eyes are like a Uzi, jacuzzi. Get the fuck out of the way.
The upswing in the quality of superhero films this year has been refreshing. And one thing I notice about the best ones to come out is that they all have distinct visual identities. I feel like a common complaint about superhero films is that they all look the same. And I kinda agreed with this sentiment because of the crappy green screens and lighting we would typically see. The Marvel formula of unfinished visual effects and boring color palettes finally caught up to them. And as a result, they reevaluated and we got Thunderbolts and Fantastic Four. While Fantastic Four more obviously takes on its own visual theme than Thunderbolts, I'd argue that they're both great looking films. I'd argue the same for Superman, which employs a bright, soft visual palette that perfectly fits the character. These films remind us that superhero movies can have their own definitive look and feel, just like Tim Burton's Batman or Sam Raimi's Spider-Man did. But I'm not here to talk about any of those films.
Pizza time.
No, I'm here to talk about the best looking superhero film I've ever seen.
Certainly been deceiving us all in a very inexcusable manner. I hope you have not been leading a double life, pretending to be wicked and all the time. That would be hypocrisy.
We really gotta go, man. Listen.
Look, I know a lot of people are gonna say, what about The Dark Knight? Yes, The Dark Knight is a beautifully shot film with iconic scenes. And while it might work better as a film than The Batman, I think that as a superhero movie, The Batman captures the atmosphere and aesthetics of the character much better. Case in point is Gotham. Christopher Nolan's Gotham has potential, but it lacks the gritty comic book influence that Matt Reeves embraces.
We wanted to shoot in a place that had real historic Gothic architecture that we then built upon, create our own Gotham so you felt you were seeing a place that looked like a big city, but a city at the same time that you'd never seen before, a city that was ours.
Reeves gives a more quote-unquote accurate depiction of what Gotham would look and feel like in real life. From the very beginning, this movie makes it clear that you wouldn't want to live here. The locals are like seasoned war veterans that have adapted to inhaling toxic waste and the threat of being murdered every day. I can pretty much smell the sewage and garbage through my screen. But in seriousness, Reeves' Gotham actually has a personality, which I think previous iterations missed the mark with. And the scenes with Commissioner Gordon give us the lens of an outsider looking into the corruption running deep within the city. I love how the story of corruption comes through visually, with graffiti, posters, and signs that give subtle clues to the unraveling mystery. The movie is mostly set at night, and yet there's not a single shot that feels like it needs more light. Wet, reflective surfaces help illuminate objects while also making for some cinematic-ass shots. The use of partially out-of-focus lenses adds to the smoky and dirty aesthetic of Gotham. Every space in the city feels jam-packed, and I love how much this gets amplified in the final 30 minutes of the movie. I could go on and on about little details, but I want to highlight what this version of Gotham does best, which is that it makes the possibility of a Batman believable. Almost every element of the city contributes to crime running rampant and necessitates some crazy nutjob vigilante to protect innocent civilians. I love how integral Gotham is to Batman's character in this movie, and it's been severely unexplored on the big screen before this film. Like, yeah, it's easy to say that Gotham created Batman because it's where his parents got killed, but this movie goes way deeper than that. I'll give Batman Begins some credit for trying to show the underworld of Gotham, but the Batman does a much more thorough demonstration of corruption. Batman Begins walked so that the Batman could run. We get to see just how ugly Gotham really is and how much saving it needs. The presentation of Gotham is clearly holding a mirror to Bruce Wayne and who he is as a person during this time in his life. We also see an interesting dynamic of how Batman impacts Gotham, and what spawns out of that is the Riddler. Based on the effect he's having, Bruce realizes that he probably needs to use a different approach to saving a place like Gotham. By the end of the film, we start to see more shots of Gotham during the day, as if to say we are past this moment of darkness for Bruce and the city, and a path to recovery can finally be paved. Gotham is such an underrated part of this movie, and does a lot of the legwork in showing Batman's character arc.
Stop right there, criminal scum!
I complain a lot about action in superhero films because I'm usually left underwhelmed by it. Oftentimes there are too many cuts, you don't feel the punches or see battle damage, or the bare minimum is used to sell the effect. Like, let's just put a few scrapes and some blood and that should be fine. In my opinion, action doesn't need to be perfectly choreographed or over the top, it just needs to look somewhat decent and have a function within the story. For most superheroes, action is best used sparingly and when absolutely necessary, otherwise it loses my interest. There should also be real stakes involved so that I actually feel something when I see Batman lose or win. The Batman succeeds with its action because not only does it feel and look real, the action scenes are genuinely some of the best parts of the film. Do I even need to talk about the Penguin car chase scene? Everyone loves this scene and for good reason. It has all the ingredients of a great action scene. High stakes, good cinematography, and great visual effects. This scene happens right at the halfway point of the film and was built up to naturally. Batman wants to crack the Riddler's puzzle before his next victim, so this scene holds a lot of weight over the story. And need I mention how amazing this scene looks? We get the single best shot of Batman of all time in this scene. Practical effects are also used in this movie to an extent that is rarely considered in modern superhero films, which is partly to blame for why it looks so much better than other action scenes in other movies. Like Colin Farrell's reaction to the explosion is completely genuine because he actually sees that happen behind him. This scene also feeds into the tension of the plot because Batman thinks he needs to stop Penguin to stop the Riddler. However, when he finds out he was wrong, it leads to the Riddler's next victim. This really is the ideal action scene because of how much it fuels the story and the tension, and it does so while being entertaining and stressful. There are only a handful of other action scenes in the Batman, but they're all very memorable. Like the train station scene where we meet Batman for the first time and see him save a commuter from a group of goons. The sound design is excellent, and the look and feel of the scene is so brutal. It tells us exactly who Batman is at this point in the film. Vengeance. And then jumping to the first Iceberg Lounge fight where he's just mowing through a crowd of people with the club music and lighting was sick. Also sick was the other Iceberg Lounge fight where the muzzle flash of guns light the scene as Batman kicks some people's shit in. Finally, there's the last fight in Gotham Square Garden where Batman demolishes a bunch of the Riddler's goons, and the colors and lenses used in this scene are chef's kiss. The open set piece gives the action more space to breathe, and it felt like such a catharsis to see Batman save all those people at the end of the movie. Action scenes with this much sauce are few and far between.
It's actually quite nice. Any of this mean anything to you? This mean anything to you?
You are?
Yeah. I'm man. This mean anything to you? This mean anything to you? Oh, not 20 minutes. Stupid. This mean anything to you?
You risked your life to save that riffraff in the bar?
They may be drinkers, Robin, but they're also human beings. And may be salvaged I had to do it.
Okay, here's the real reason I'm making this video. No superhero has ever looked so damn cool before on the big screen, and I mean it. The closest thing to it is probably Sam Raimi's Spider-Man, but otherwise it's not really a competition. Every shot of the Batman is carefully orchestrated to make him look as real and menacing as possible. I am convinced that this is what Batman would look like in real life. I love how the bat signal alone shakes criminals to their bones. I also love shots where he's observing and standing still. The level of aura farming is unmatched in this movie. The cinematographer Greg Fraser knew what the hell he was doing when composing these shots. The batsuit fits perfectly with the wet and dirty vibe of the movie and has a lot of practical uses throughout. This has to be the best on-screen cowl we've ever seen. Robert Pattinson's jawline is just too perfect for the role. Also, getting to see Bruce with his eye makeup after being in the costume is just brilliant. The way Batman moves, speaks, and gestures is so comic-y, and I love it. Robert Pattinson plays him like he truly understands what Bruce Wayne thinks and feels. If you watch any interview with Robert Pattinson about the Batman, you can tell that he understands the character pretty damn well.
I always just get the impression that he just wants to keep recreating the night where his parents died. All the fights seem very personal. He's fighting a stranger as if they have personally harmed him every single time.
And finally, we get to see Detective Batman, a long-neglected part of his character. I think directors were afraid it would be too corny to have Batman doing detective work around cops, but Matt Reeves clutched up and delivered some iconic scenes. Like at this point, the scene where Batman shows up at Mayor Mitchell's crime scene has been cemented as one of the great Batman scenes. And while this film focuses a lot on the grounded reality of who is Batman, it also leans into Batman being a sort of urban legend with the bat signal and the way he lurks in the shadows. The opening narration shows this perfectly. We also get what's possibly the best scene of a superhero saving people ever in the final act. Batman being the light that guides people out of the darkness is a perfect way to visually portray that he learned what type of hero he needed to become, from vengeance to hope. Honestly, it's hard to express the amount of enjoyment I get just from watching images from this film. There's a level of detail and care that's rarely seen in a superhero movie. It also takes risks with its storytelling and visuals that challenge the audience, but ultimately leave them satisfied. I will always appreciate when the passion of a filmmaker who truly understands a character shines through. I can also appreciate that this movie clears 99.9% of superhero films. I know this video turned into more than just talking about the visuals of the Batman, but I truly can't help but glaze every aspect of this film like a donut.
And before I go, I just want to say it matters not what you've done, but what you do with what you've done for others. Thank you.
Is that him?
Yeah, it has to be.
Peter! Peter!
Hey, Peter!
Peter!